Thanks.
Hey, Denise, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited to talk to you. Even my puppets are here. They're here to talk to you too.
Oh my goodness. Hey, puppets. How are you?
Here's my
What puppets am I speaking to?
This is Mr. Yak. Can you
Hi,
see?
Mr. Yak.
Well,
Oh, that is very appropriate because we're about to yakety yakety yak.
we're gonna talk. Yes, I
Oh
love
my goodness.
it. So I'm
Oh,
sorry. I work. I run a preschool. So this is me at my preschool.
and you apparently are wide awake. I am a little bit more than I am, but I have my rooibos pecan turtle tea that my tea master made for me that will help wake me up. What about you? You got your tea?
I came with my ginger tea.
Mm.
This is I brought my cup that I got from one of my women's groups. It says lean in. So I follow this very, very much so.
Yes, you absolutely lean in, which brings me to my first question. How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
What sleep? What sleep, girl?
Okay, this makes sense because we are here to talk about goal attainment, right? And you, Denise, when I think about goal attainment, you are probably the first person that comes to mind because what is it that you do not do? You run down the list. What are all the things you do? You can start with where you are right now in your entrepreneurial endeavor, where you sit.
So I run Pear Tree. I opened Pear Tree Preschool. We're about to celebrate our 10th year next month. I opened it when I was having my second child. I had started business school at Columbia Business School about 7 months pregnant. It's not something I recommend. Like, do not go to get your master's while you're pregnant. And I thought after I have my baby, I could just find a daycare center and put my daughter there, and I'd be okay, and I'd go to school. It didn't work out so well. I wasn't very happy with where they were, so I opened. So when I get mad, they weren't really nice to me, and they weren't really caring for my little brown child the way I would want someone to. So when I get mad, I open up a preschool 2 blocks away. I compete with you, and you get shut down because I elevated expectations in Harlem.
They did what?
They shut down. And so I just feel like if I'm going to be a mom, I'm going to be the best mom. I'm going to make sure everybody knows how I want my child to be treated. I want to treat every child with that same care and that same kind of quality education. So I run and I founded Pear Tree Preschool. I'm a mom. I'm the most proud of being a mom, and I have 2 wonderful daughters, a full-time job. But it was kind of amazing to be able to pick their preschool teachers, Well, so they both graduated from Pear Tree. I also am one of the co-founders for Black Creators and Kidlit, and so our Black Creators headquarters now. We've incorporated more adult writers as well. So Black Creators headquarters supports Black writers and illustrators and helps to bridge that gap between publishing and Black creatives. And I write children's books. So my first book will be coming out next year. I'm really excited about it. It's called Cesara Wears No Shoes, and it's about a deaf girl who wants to participate in Carnaval. I'm originally from Brazil. My mother and my family's from West Africa and Cape Verde Islands. And she wants to participate in Carnaval and listen to samba music, but she does that through her feet. And so she doesn't want to put her shoes on because it prevents her from really experiencing music the way she does. So those are the things I do.
And those are the things that you do excellently. I think anybody listening can kind of get a taste that you don't do anything halfway. You go all in. I am a member of Black Creators Headquarters, and I witness you and your leadership. Supported by a magnificent team.
A wonderful team. Yeah.
That I'm sure you had a hand in kind of crafting as well and bringing to the table. So my question, and I'm wearing this shirt.
Let me see.
In your honor. Find a way not an excuse.
Yes, yes.
That's you, right? So tell me, practically speaking, what are some of the strategies that you employ to get all of this stuff done and to get it done successfully?
Well, for me, I come from a Cape Verdean community, and we were probably the first Africans to immigrate. So we came here willingly. And it wasn't an easy endeavor. We had a choice to stay in our country or come here. And so in our culture, it's very much the expectation is that whatever you do, we're not here to play around. When you go find Cape Verdean communities in Brazil and Netherlands or United States, they tend to be entrepreneurial. They tend to own their businesses. And so the expectation was that I had my first business by the time I was 30. I was late. I was 32.
Whose expectation was this? Your family's or yours?
My family's expectation. Okay. So my brother owns a business. My mother owned a business in Brazil. My father owned a few businesses in Brazil. And it's not like we come from a very rich family in Cape Verde. My mother was an orphan. She has a second grade education. And so there's very little I can complain about when I go home. If she's like, oh, like when I was having my baby and I was complaining about having to get an epidural, she's like, oh, I got a stick. I had to chew on the stick and that's it. And so there's no complaining to someone who was an orphan, who somehow made it out of her country, went to Brazil, started a business, came to America, started a business. That is expectation. And so for us, it's an expectation that you own your own. And when as you climb, lift. Mm-hmm. So within Cape Verdean communities, when you come, you have to also support others who are coming as well. So when my uncle came to America, he lived upstairs, another aunt lived downstairs. We all worked together to pay the mortgage. Mm-hmm. And then they can live in our homes for about a year, and then you're expected to go buy your own. Mm-hmm. And that's how we build our community. So when you come here, you support your own and you keep building. Mm-hmm. And so here in Harlem, I have my preschool. Mm-hmm. In our neighborhood. I hire locally. I make sure that we invest in our teachers. We make sure that this often is the first experience with a private school, with a progressive program. Mm-hmm. And they're often poached from other schools who can afford more. And I'm okay with that because I want to see them succeed and I want to see them grow in their craft and grow and become stronger teachers. But it hurts after you've invested a lot in someone and then they move on somewhere else, but it's okay. And so the same concept with Black creators is that if I want to be a successful writer, I have to surround myself with other people with similar goals. And we all have to work together to really build everyone up. You can't just do this by yourself. So that same strategy that I've learned from home, I apply to my professional life, to my writing life. And then as a mom as well, I have mommy groups that I'm part of. And the same thing, we support each other, we nurture each other, and we look out for each other's children. One thing I'm really proud of about Pear Tree is that we've raised about $8 million in the past 10 years to get children from Harlem financial aid so that they can attend independent schools that are often $60,000 in New York City. School's not cheap.
Right.
And that requires really supporting our family. So it's preschool, not just for the kids, it's preschool for our parents, and helping them navigate really, really exclusive just environment, which is the independent schools in New York City.
Fantastic. Yes. And so this $8 million that you raised, was it in tandem with some other preschool or other organizations, or was it Pear Tree sponsored?
So we work with schools, and so when our parents apply to schools, we're very honest with our schools and letting them know what our families can and can't afford. Okay. Oh, those graduating from Pear Tree. Gotcha. So schools have worked with us and made it doable for our families. Absolutely. We have kids who are going to certain schools that are like $60,000 a year for $650 a year. Wow, got it. That's amazing. So that puts children on a very different trajectory. Very different trajectory. Exactly. And so that's the goal. So whatever I do, I'm bringing everybody with me, All right now. Look, my bags are packed. I'm ready to go. Let's go. So we see clearly the legacy that has been passed down to you with
entrepreneurial spirit, just can-do attitude, no making excuses. What are your, how do you do that for your girls? What does that look like on a typical day, week, month, whatever?
So my girls have been part of every endeavor. So when I was signing my lease, my little one was with me. I had one in a carrier, the other one was with me. The landlord across the table, they saw me sign the lease to my space. They watched me work with contractors. I'm a different person when I work with contractors. I'm not so sweet.
Who are you when you work with contractors?
I am what I need to be. I am who I need to be to make sure it gets done on time.
Okay.
So my brother is a contractor. He owns a business that builds beautiful mansions in Nantucket. That's his niche. And so I've grown up around that. And so I know exactly how to talk about it. So my girls have been part of that. They watched me manage a construction project. They watched me run a preschool. Most kids play house, my kids play tour. And so they give a tour in my house. I'm like, this is where our couch is, and blah, blah, blah. And you watch my kids. So for me, it's really important that we adults understand that we're modeling for our kids. Like whoever you want them to be, you have to be that. So if I want my kids to be independent and I want them to be entrepreneurial and I want them to grow up to be the boss, they have to see what it means. So they have to watch me be compassionate with my teachers. They have to watch me be a little tough with people who are always pushing back. I'm a female, I'm a Black female, managing a lot of different vendors. Often when people walk in here, they're like, is your husband coming to the meeting?
Ooh.
No, my husband's not part of this. We have a very different relationship at home. Who I am every day at work is not who I am at home. That's a totally other Denise, So knowing how to compartmentalize. But my girls watch me be in charge and manage people, be compassionate, learn how to interact with various different people, different cultures, different languages. And so for me, it's important for me to model it for them.
Absolutely. Your girls are lucky that they are able to see so many different things, because you're doing so many different things and they're learning through osmosis, skills as well as personality traits that are going to serve them so very well in the future. So kudos to you for that. Kudos to you. So what is, because I told you this is kind of a mentorship series for me, right? And I'm reaching out to various different people, speaking to them about various different topics, and this is goal attainment. Sometimes, most of us have goals, right? Some start off with dreams, and you gotta put a plan to it and make it a goal to make it happen. So sometimes we have lofty goals. Sometimes we have a great number of goals, kind of like you, but it can be hard. It can be defeating to stay on the path to try to attain these things, because nothing is ever a smooth, easy process. So what's your advice? What are your strategies that you use to kind of stay in the game when it's not so easy and to keep pushing?
I think the first thing is you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think a lot of people are not. Risk takers stand out. People notice them because they are comfortable being uncomfortable. When I'm uncomfortable, most people don't know. But inside, I'm like screaming, but I'm going to keep smiling at you, and we're going to get through this, and I'm going to encourage those. I'm going through a very uncomfortable thing right now. My landlord has asked to increase my rent by a tremendous amount. Mm-hmm. I've cried, I've let all those feelings out, I've been mad, I've kicked the wall. And then I had to have a conversation with my parents about it, that we need to move. Mm-hmm. I've been here 10 years and I don't have the most compassionate landlord. And it's a fight. And I've had to be uncomfortable. I've had to be comfortable being uncomfortable managing this relationship. I've had to be uncomfortable on Friday having a difficult conversation and letting people down. And I was just really nervous leading up to that conversation. And afterwards, I got so much support. And so after the meeting, I got emails from parents like, oh, I created a website, safepeartree.com. I've written this letter and I've sent it to my representative. So some people are motivated by greed instead of good. And just getting these emails from my parents, I was just like, oh my God, I was really worried that they were going to be mad at me and they were going to scream at me, but I was going to confront it anyway. But me being comfortable, being uncomfortable actually led to a really positive outcome. And now I have all these supporters are like, we're going to save Pear Tree. Mm-hmm. We're going to make sure this school that has done so much good in our neighborhood exists after this, even if it's not in the same location. Right. You know, and so that's what I always tell my girls, be comfortable being uncomfortable, because it's only going to last a little bit of the time. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to recover and you're going to do something greater. And now each time that you confront an uncomfortable situation, it makes you stronger. You're going to learn from it. You're going to learn how to navigate and be prepared for the next uncomfortable situation. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's for me. And that's something I had to also learn from my mom. You know, this is a woman who's had to leave her country, move to another country, learn the culture and the language, do it again, learn another language, mm-hmm. another culture, and learn how to navigate. And so for me, it's like, I can't complain if I have someone in my life with a second grade education. Right. I have 2 Ivy League degrees, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's made possible by a woman who was a housekeeper. She said, my mom's very honest. I didn't bring you here. I didn't bring you here to be average. Yeah. She's endured a lot. Mm-hmm. And so this is how I honor her, by mm-hmm. being the best that I possibly can be, mm-hmm. and build something and then pass that on to my children. Mm-hmm. You know, there's 4 of us and we weren't raised with our dads. And so I honor my mom by building things and creating opportunities for other people, because she created an opportunity for me and my brothers by being mm-hmm. here. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to get teary-eyed. Okay. All right. All right. Let's get back to the tough side of mom, because I know something about tough Black women. Okay, and telling you, you know, you need to do more, be more, because we didn't go through everything that we went through for you not to do better. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Because we live in a culture, a society, a time, you know, frame as parents, where, you know, society tells us not to put pressure on our children and let them do, you know, be happy and all that kind of stuff, which, well, I'm not poo-pooing that, you know, I know I'm seem a little bit sarcastic, but I'm not. But at the same time, you know, you got people like your mom, like we grew up. It's like, yes, you know, we want you to have a great life, but you also, you know, need to recognize you need to do X, Y, and Z. You know, it's not going to be given to you. You got to work for it. How do you find that you're trying to balance those messages with your children? I mean, I know you model certain things, but there are certain things we've got to say. There are certain conversations we've got to have. So where do you fall when you're conversing with your girls about this? You know, like, just be you, be happy, and excel. Yes. So I think one of the things I'm really, my husband and I, my husband's West African as well, he's from Ghana. And so we do come from cultures that put a lot of pressure on their children to succeed. I want my children to be happy. And mm-hmm. so I want them to explore. If I find a talent, we're going to support that talent. You know, mm-hmm. this girl can write plays. We're going to support that girl, but she's also going to have some other skills too. Mm-hmm. You know, and also in my culture, like we expect everyone to own their businesses, but also Cape Verde is a capital of music for some reason mm-hmm. in West Africa. Like, we're small islands with 500,000 people. So you've met a unicorn. There's very few Cape Verdeans out there, you know, but we produce so much music. And we really do invest, like the artists do to produce a lot of beautiful art. And so I'm allowed to express my art, but until I'm financially stable, mm-hmm. I wasn't encouraged to pursue it. So I've always been encouraged to write. Mm-hmm. I've always been encouraged to tell stories. And I do the same for my daughters. Like, you need to have a balance. You need to really encourage that artistic side of you, and we want to support that, but also have something to fall back on.
Right.
And so there has to be a balance in that way. And we have those conversations with my daughters. I have a daughter who's both very artsy, who can draw, and it's kind of amazing what she's doing at 13, but she's also amazing at science. And so we're always asking her lots of questions and really supporting her in that area of science and math is her thing. And so we're going to support both sides of her brain, and when she comes with a drawing, it's just kind of like, she blows me away. But and then she also just can play music by ear. So it's just, okay, we're going to support every little thing. You keep showing us talents, we're just going to keep supporting that and encouraging that. But we also have to be practical at the same time. Like, we also have to be strong in math and science. And it is a balance. And I think also there's like the emotional aspect of it is, in our culture, in Cape Verdean culture, especially at funerals, if you've ever been to a Cape Verdean funeral, it's loud and it looks like screaming, but we have a griot tradition. And so we cry and tell people stories, like whoever passed, their story when they're passed. And it's cathartic and you get all your feelings out. So you have to process whatever you're feeling before you can move on to the next thing. And so my girls are encouraged to, if they're feeling difficulties or they're mad or something happens, they're encouraged to process those feelings. Because if your head space is occupied with your emotions, you can't do anything else. And so that's the first thing we always do, no matter what they encounter, is like, let's process what you're feeling, let's talk about it. Okay, and like come up with solutions. So acknowledging that, letting them process it, and then we come up with a solution. But we have to get through whatever we're feeling. Right. Does that answer your question? It's kind of a little bit.
It did, and it was an excellent answer. And what I got from it was balance. Yes, you do have those conversations about those practical conversations about being able to support yourself and things of that nature, but not to the exclusion of, building up and nurturing that, artistic, joyful side of whatever your desired endeavors are. So yes, balance.
Balance. The answer to my balance is, when you ask me how do I manage it all, it's being able to experience the whole gamut of feelings and different talents. Because for me, my mission is very simple. I just want to improve the lives of children. Like, that's been my life goal,
And I see that in all the different things that you're doing. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think once you've established what is your personal mission, like whatever you do, align it around that mission. So it's the school, it's the writing children's books, it's supporting other children's book writers, and so all of that makes sense once you figure out what is my personal mission. So I have one job, improve the lives of children, and I love entertaining them. I love creating, like, I love my job. I get to engineer play. Like, that's what I do. I engineer play every day. It's like coming up with really fun things that help children learn, and they're enjoying it and really inspiring them. Like, that's my job.
That's a beautiful job. And we thank you. We thank you. I don't have a kid in your school, but I know that the parents who are able to benefit from your passion and your love for their children truly, truly appreciate you. I know I appreciate you and BCHQ.
I appreciate you. You're so fun. Oh my goodness. And the thing is, like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything for anybody that I'm not doing for myself. Like, writing can be really isolating.
Oh, absolutely.
And so having you to talk to and having other people that I could call and talk about various different things that I learned from you guys, I feel like that's what we're all doing for each other.
Oh, absolutely.
So I might be selfish actually doing this.
Well, you know what? There's balance.
There's balance. There we go. There's balance.
Okay, so I think that's going to be my word for the day. I'm going to go throughout the whole day talking about balance.
That's exactly.
Because of you. Thank you. To you.
To us. To all of us.
To us. To them.